state to state properties.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man.
Hey, this is Bob Backlund. Hey, everyone, this is Rick Stanley.
This is the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest WWE Intercontinental Champion of all time.
This is your wrestling show, Ottawa.
Heck, they could use you guys over in WWE.
You're listening to the greatest wrestling show in the whole wide world.
This is Wrestling with Ideas.
Welcome inside the CKDJ studios for Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. I'm the man they call Gibby, Zach McGibbon. Alongside me is the music man, Colin Scully, CD Scully. Yeah. And you got like multiple names now.
I guess, eh?
Yeah, you're starting to turn into me a little bit.
Am I?
With the multiple names.
So what, you have Gibby, you have Zach, you have Hornswoggle.
I'm not Hornswoggle. Oh my God. We might as well get this out of the way first. But first, actually, let me just introduce the show. This is episode 103 of Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. And we got a great show for you. This is a stacked show.
You got a couple of, you have 2 interviews this week.
2 interviews this
week.
week.
You have one that was a little...
Off the rails?
A little bit. I mean...
So, okay, let's go through some of the interviews this week. So, first interview I did was with Sheldon Jean.
Yeah.
Sheldon Jean, he wrestled in Pro Wrestling Noah. He's part of their tour. Yeah. Got to wrestle some of Noah's big guys as well. So that was really cool. Get to talk to him, learn a little bit more of the insight of his the way the different matches he wrestled for, and also wrestling with Cody Hall. Yeah. Also, he was on the Impact One Night Only pay-per-view a couple months ago.
That was Border City when they were in.
Yeah, that was the.
Were they in Windsor or Detroit?
Windsor, I believe.
Right. Okay.
So, sorry, I am currently battling a cold, so you may hear some water droplets go in. That makes for some quality radio, I know. But,
oh, for sure.
But so we had that interview with Sheldon Jean. He's also wrestling at the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo and C4 Wrestling around here.
Yep.
Really, really good wrestler. He continues to get better, so super happy to have him. We actually had him here in studio for the interview.
Yeah.
Lives around here in Ottawa. So figured, hey, might as well come in. And so there's some fun stuff there. So that Sheldon Jean interview is going to be coming up on this show. And, of course, the other interview that we did. We just finished this interview. And to say that it's a little off the rails is maybe an understatement.
In a way.
We talked with the very outspoken MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I just want to say ahead of time right now, the views expressed by MJF do not necessarily represent the views of Wrestling with Ideas, Colin Scully, Zach McGibbon, or of CKDJ 107.9. I just want to say that right there. Yeah. Let's just say he was none too kind to Canadians. He was none too kind to some of his opponents. So I guess we'll just kind of get that one out there. But we wanted to give that heads up to you right away.
Yep.
He is very outspoken character. But he has been dominating the independent scene, man. He's debuting on the MLW Fusion TV, and that TV show. They're on their 3rd week now, I believe. And he's going after Shane Strickland. He made some pretty bold claims in the interview.
He did.
He made some pretty bold claims.
There's another understatement right there.
Yes, some pretty bold claims. So that's what's going down for this episode. So you'll want to tune in for that as well. And but first, let's get straight into the news. Alrighty, first thing we're going to talk about here is the Greatest Royal Rumble fallout. We're just going to cover everything under that umbrella, the Royal Rumble, Raw, and SmackDown, because it kind of all falls under the same thing. So WWE finally had their controversial, I guess you could say, show of the Greatest Royal Rumble. Now, I did not watch the show live. Yeah. In all honesty, I just kind of rewatched some clips.
Right.
I did watch some full matches. And I will say, I figured it was going to be a glorified house show with a WrestleMania budget.
Which is exactly
what it was. It was a glorified house show with a WrestleMania budget, which is not a bad thing. It's just, Well,
when you've been hyping it up for as long as they were, though, like I think I was on the first or second episode, the first or second episode that I was on.
Yes,
was when they had introduced it, which is like a month ago, give or take. So I was kind of expecting more, if I'm being perfectly honest.
All right.
But overall, I do agree with you. I think it was a glorified house show with a WrestleMania budget. Now, that isn't to say that the quality of the matches themselves weren't good.
Right.
There definitely were a couple of good matches, those being the ladder match for the IC title,
Yeah.
the Nakamura versus Styles match for the WWE title.
There were some good matches. I will say that Nakamura Styles match was better than their WrestleMania match. I thought. I just didn't like the finish, but
by far,
I didn't like the finish. But
yeah.
There was a lot of stars in the Greatest Royal Rumble. I just want to say this right now. Hornswoggle made his return to WWE in the Greatest Royal Rumble match.
Here we go.
And I'm going to tell this story right now for the Wrestling with Ideas listeners. Now, when Hornswoggle came out, the amount of messages and emails and tweets and Facebook messages, whatever messaging system that they had, they sent it to me. Of Hornswoggle coming out into the Royal Rumble saying, "Hey, I didn't know you were going to show up at the Greatest Royal Rumble." Now, here's the backstory. So, during my time with Great North Wrestling, when I was a backstage interviewer, I interviewed their women's champion, Lady Yasmin, for a YouTube video. And it was just a standard interview, nothing else. And so I did the interview, all cut, all came out good. And so I go to the comments section afterwards just to see what people were saying, if people were watching, that sort of deal. One of the first comments on the YouTube video was, "The dude looks like a fully grown Hornswoggle." So,
oh man.
So
yeah.
I saw that. I laughed. I'll be honest. I laughed. I thought that was pretty funny. That's not something you usually get every day. So I replied to him. I said, "That's probably one of the funniest I think my reply was something along the lines of one of the funniest things I've seen all day, or there's something I wasn't expecting. Something along those lines. Yeah. And so got that reply, and I made a terrible, horrible mistake sharing it with my friends that I got this comment. I put it up on my Instagram, put it up on Facebook, just as a little laughing matter.
And it was never the same.
And it was never the same again. So now, every time when people see me, they go, "Hey, you're Hornswoggle." When I worked a Brockville TV hockey commentary gig, I know the play-by-play guy. He looked up to me and he said, "Hey, Hornswoggle, how are you doing?"
Even them, all the way out in Brockville.
It's...
Well, all the way out in Brockville. It's like an hour from here.
I'm sure the guy who made the comment on the YouTube video does not understand the severe impact on my life he has made. Just from that one YouTube comment and me sharing it. So from now on, I will no longer share anything of comments of my physical appearance. So there you go. So Hornswoggle made his return to the Greatest Royal Rumble. No, I didn't return to the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Man. The match itself, the 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble match, though.
Yeah, it was.
There were some good spots.
There was a lot of NXT guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys coming from Saudi Arabia that were kind of there to be the homegrown stars. It was nice to see Tucker Knight in there.
Yeah.
Big fan of Heavy Machinery with Otis Dozovic. I think they're going to be a fun tag team.
Yeah, for sure.
Stakes and weights, baby. And so it would have been cool to see Otis in there, but we got Tucker Knight, which is not, it's a house show. It's a glorified house show, just with a big budget. And so I believe you told me the predictions I made last week. I should probably have written them down. But the predictions I made, I do remember saying that there were three people in my mind that I think was going to win. And I said it was either going to be Strowman, Bryan, or Lashley.
I think so, yeah.
And it ended up being Strowman. So
to find out, you can listen to episode 102 of Wrestling with Ideas.
Oh, there you go. You see, you already get the hang of shilling. Selling the Wrestling with Ideas website. Yes, so I made that prediction, got that prediction right. I think in terms of my overall predictions, I believe I got everything right except the Nakamura Styles match. I think I said Nakamura was winning the championship.
Yeah, did I. My predictions were shot to hell. Within I think it was the second match for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yep.
It must have been. It was the third one.
Yeah.
I'd said the Bar was gonna. I said the Bar was gonna win.
Yes.
But I wanted to see the Hardys win.
Yeah.
Hardys won anyway.
Oh well.
Yeah.
You can't get them all right. In terms of the overall quality of the show, I thought, it was a nice little show to watch. Nothing, too special. So I mean, the real thing that kind of plagued it was the political climate that surrounded it, and just a lot of questions about that. So it's going to be interesting because there's rumors that they're going to do another show in Saudi Arabia in around November.
Really?
That's the rumor. It's not confirmed or anything like that, but apparently that's part of the deal. So what that show would be, the Greatest Survivor Series, the Greatest SummerSlam in November, the Greatest WrestleMania, the Greatest Money in the Bank. Who knows?
In Saudi Arabia, Money in the Bank? I don't think so.
Oh, well, they've got tons of money in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but that would just be kind of a play on them.
Maybe. Who knows? The thing is like, I think if they build up some stakes, maybe the show would be better, because Strowman won a belt and a trophy, but he didn't wear the belt on Raw. No. He just had the trophy in the background. So it's probably going to disappear, kind of like the Kuwaiti Cup back in the late 90s. So
I have never heard of that.
It was something that they did in the New Generation era.
Oh, okay.
I believe around 96 they did the Kuwaiti Cup. And it was mainly covered in the magazines, I want to say. But I think there were some Raw episodes where it showed up. But it kind of goes to show how much attention they gave to the Kuwaiti Cup.
It also goes to show the fact that I wasn't born around then. But
yeah, I know that the people, the older listeners of the show are probably cringing at you right now for knowing that you are not born during the Kuwaiti Cup era. I wasn't either. That's the thing. So, yes. So, Greatest Royal Rumble. I thought it was a nice little glorified house show. Now they're just kind of building up the Backlash. Some of the different storylines there.
I'm finding it very hard to be excited for Backlash, if I'm being honest with you.
I think they really just loaded up the hype for the Greatest Royal Rumble show.
So much.
And because there's such a closeness between the Greatest Royal Rumble and Backlash, I think a little bit of, I think people are just a tad bit tired out.
Yeah. If I'm being honest with you, just as much, because I've been watching WWE for a while now. Yeah. I've been watching NJPW for just over a month. Yeah. I'm more excited for Wrestling Dontaku. Yeah, than I am for Backlash.
Yeah, New Japan. Let's talk about that quickly, actually, before we head to break. This was something that just broke as we're recording. Chris Jericho is rumored to,
not rumored.
Rumored. Well,
is it rumored?
Spoiler alert. The rumor, it's apparently confirmed that he's going to be returning to New Japan, whether it be at the Dontaku show or.
Do you think he comes back? Because the first night is tomorrow.
I mean, possibly.
Really?
Who knows?
That close?
I mean, it's possible. You never know with New Japan, right?
Well, that's true.
And they're probably going to build up that Naito versus Jericho matchup that happened, that they built up towards.
I want to see that, but I also want to see Omega versus Jericho too.
You want to see a second Omega Jericho match? I don't know. I obviously their first match was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see another one though.
Why is that?
What I mean? I don't know if the match made enough of an impression on me where I'm like, I want to see a second one.
Well, I mean,
it was one of those matches where it's like, it's really, really good, but I don't want to see it again.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the rare cases. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm also a little unfamiliar to Dave Meltzer's star ratings. Yeah. I believe that was one of the only ones that I've seen that got 6 stars.
Did that get 6 stars?
I believe so.
I thought it only got the 5.
No,
only got 5 stars.
It only got 5. I think that was one of them that got the 6.
Jericho, Omega, Okada got 6.
Okay.
Their 3 matches. One of them got 6 1/4. But I believe Jericho and Omega.
Was it only 5?
I believe only 5.
Yeah.
But 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe it got 5 stars.
How high does his rating? How high is
5?
Is it 5? Okay.
Technically 5, but there's only been a couple other matches that have gone over 5 stars. Jericho, Omega, and Okada. And Misawa and Kawada back in the mid-90s.
Right.
And I believe there's a Steamboat Flair match that was rated as 5-star plus or something like that.
Yeah.
So I believe those are the only 3 matches that got more than 5 stars. So it's interesting. They're continuing their storyline over New Japan.
Right.
Do you think New Japan is still as hot as it was at the beginning of the year? Or do you think it's starting to simmer down?
I think, well, again...
I'm saying this as I'm wearing a New Japan shirt.
Yeah. Wrestle Kingdom 12 was definitely good. I mean, I went back and watched it. I think a couple days ago. I watched the full thing. Mm-hmm. I watched a couple. Like I've watched sort of the bigger shows over the course, and I am definitely noticing a decline. Yeah. But beginning with Dontaku, with all the matches that they have set up with that, Ibushi versus Cody. Yep. And then the Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. Yep. On night 2, I feel like this could be the kickstart of another hot run. Okay. Maybe ending at Dominion. Dominion, okay. Maybe even the G1. Maybe. That could possibly happen. Yeah. But it's interesting to keep an eye on New Japan and see what they're doing. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more of the good old professional wrestling. You're listening to Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music.
American males, American males, American males, American males.
I'm buff on the stuff and the girls just can't get enough.
Hey, this is Buck Bagwell, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios for Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. I'm the man they call Gibby, Zach McGibbon, alongside me, the music man, CD Scully, Colin. And we're going to go into some of the other news that's accompanying the wrestling world. Things are going to go back a little bit normal, I think, for the wrestling scene once we get back to regular Monday, Tuesday weekly shows. Because I think that Greatest Royal Rumble show really screwed some people up, you know? Yeah.
I wasn't used to watching, I do wake up occasionally to watch the NJPW live streams. Yeah. At 5 in the morning. But I wasn't used to watching wrestling on a Friday afternoon that was live. It
was weird. So I think everything will get back to a regular sort of news cycle once that starts going on. But I think we have to talk about this. Glenn Jacobs, if that name sounds familiar.
Isaac Yankem DDS?
Yes, there you go. Or the Christmas Creature. Do you know of the Christmas Creature?
I've seen videos. I don't want to remember that.
Memphis Wrestling, I think. Yeah. Or Smoky Mountain. Yeah. So he won. Now, there's a lot of confusion about this online because some people have said he's won the mayor race. He didn't win the mayor race, but he secured a very big victory in order to become mayor. It's very significant. So he has secured the Republican primary to be the Republican candidate to become the next mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. And I was pointed to this video by the wonderful Colin Scully in terms of his campaign video on what he's running on. Now, it's on his website. We're going to do a live reaction right here, right now. So let's take a listen. Let's take a gander over to Kane's YouTube video.
Hi, my name is Glenn Jacobs, and I'm running for mayor of Knox County here in the great state of Tennessee. In my career, I've been blessed to travel all over the world and see all the great communities that our country has to offer. But in my opinion, Knox County is the best place to live, work, and raise a family.
Sorry, I gotta stop this here. The best part about this video is there is a flame in the bottom right corner just to signify Kane for mayor.
22 years ago, I met the love of my life here in East Tennessee. We decided to make this place our home and to raise our family.
Doesn't sound like.
I believe Knox County, Tennessee, by the way, because Smoky Mountain was running through the Tennessee area. So I would assume that's where he met his wife through the Smoky Mountain. Maybe as the Christmas Creature. Could you imagine that?
Maybe it was Katie.
Oh God.
Every day I'm thankful that we made that decision. As your mayor, I will work with local businesses to make sure that they have everything they need to succeed. I will work with the great teachers and administrators to make sure that Knox County schools produce a competitive...
You could tell that the wrestling promos really helped out with Kane.
For sure.
In terms of, I mean, obviously he didn't talk that much.
No.
but he's definitely seems well spoken.
You could definitely see the corporate Kane in this.
Yes.
World-class workforce.
I mean, he looks
that will
just like
attract
corporate
businesses
Kane.
and create
Actually,
jobs.
you know, he's
I
gonna
will
he's
work
gonna become
to
concession
make
stand
sure that
Kane for
government
selling stuff.
remains
If you know what I
open
mean.
and transparent,
Yeah.
so that every citizen of Knox County has a voice in the mayor's office. And I will fight to keep government small and to keep our taxes low. President Reagan once called America the shining city on a hill. Let's make Knox County an example of what that shining city looks like.
No, you're not going to make that
Together,
joke. This is
we
not the
can
kind of show.
And we will make Knox County the standard
No,
bearer
this is
for
not
the
that
rest
kind of
Tennessee
show.
And the entire Southeast.
Man.
We're trying to keep this political free.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a fire. Here's the. I love this slogan: lighting the way for our future. Jim Ross must be super in love with that slogan.
Oh yeah.
But it's you know what? Good for him, man. I'm happy that he's doing something outside of WWE, and he's running for mayor. So, you know, good for him. I'm happy he's doing that sort of stuff. He seems happy, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, you gotta look happy if you're gonna be running for mayor. But he secured that big Republican primary vote. So now he's got to face off against the Democrat that's running in that area. And strictly just kind of looking at it from a political perspective and how the voting patterns are for that city, they've generally been known to vote Republican as far as I know.
Yeah.
So that's why people were saying this is a good chance that Kane will win because it's generally been voted for Republican.
Right.
So hey, good for him, man. Good for our boy Kane, able to move on from the years of Katie Vick and the Christmas creature to become a mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
Yeah. Whose dentist was he as Isaac Yankem? I can't remember.
What?
He was somebody's Isaac Yankem.
Jerry
right?
Lawler's.
Jerry Lawler.
He was
right,
Jerry
okay.
Lawler's dentist.
Okay.
There you go. So that's what's going on with Kane. Should we also talk about the rumor of one of the big independent stars that's apparently signed with WWE?
I guess we could. Keith Lee.
Yes. Keith Lee is apparently going to be doing a farewell tour, or if not already is on a farewell tour, before he heads to the Performance Center and reports to them. And that's rumored to be, it's May now, so around this month or next month, he's going to start to report to the Performance Center. We'll probably get that WWE.com article with all the newest recruits. So good for Keith Lee. He came by to Ottawa for C4 Wrestling show one time. I actually got a photo with Keith Lee after the show. So that was really cool. Super, super cool guy, super laid back.
Right.
He actually came out with a Dragon Ball Z shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Big Dragon Ball Z fan. So he came out with a Dragon Ball Z shirt, and he had this giant gallon of water. Like this giant thing of water, just was chugging this water. And he had a great match with Josh Alexander for C4 Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
So happy for our man there, Keith Lee, and wish him continued success. The funny thing was actually about our conversation, we were talking about pancakes in our conversation.
Oh?
Yeah. We were talking about pancakes.
Okay.
And he's like, man, it's like, I eat some pancakes. It's like, oh, I recommended this pancake place to him. He's like, you gotta go to this place. I believe it was Wheeler's down in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a great place. He's like, I know it's a little off. I know you got to get to the next show, but if you ever go to Wheeler's, you ever get the chance to tour, the Ottawa area again, you gotta go to Wheeler's, man. Yeah. Wheeler's is very good. We're not sponsored by them, by the way.
No, we are not.
Wheeler's is very, very.
Are we sponsored by anybody?
No. So we've just kind of kept it as an independent sort of deal, just like a community thing.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things about it was there was a report as well during that time that another top indie star was offered a WWE contract, and that was Walter. Walter, he is a member of Ring Conf. One of his members of Ring Conf is already in WWE, Axel Dieter Jr., German guy. So you probably have no idea who that is.
No.
But he's already in WWE. And Walter, he's the head trainer of WXW in Germany.
Okay.
If you ever get the chance to watch WXW, very good stuff. They've just had their 16 karat gold tournament.
Are they on YouTube?
They've got some. I mean, they're not their full matches. They have the streaming service deal,
Right.
but there's like highlights and stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
Walter was offered a WWE contract, but the feeling that is coming out of it, I believe, from PW Insider, is that he is not going to sign with WWE at this time.
Is there any reason for that? Like any specific?
I think he's just doing well on his own and doesn't really need
Right.
WWE. And
one of the rare cases.
yeah, well, that's the same thing that happened with Zack Sabre Jr. Sabre Jr. was offered a WWE contract, but he didn't take it.
Really?
That was after the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah, wasn't who else was
Ibushi was offered one, he didn't
Ibushi.
take it.
Man, that would be something.
Well, initially the final was going to be Sabre Jr. versus Ibushi in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Are you serious?
But because both didn't sign, they passed over that. So,
Man.
But big fan of Walter. Definitely go check out some of his matches, especially for WXW. He's had some killer matches.
Go check out his match versus PCO at
Joey Janela Spring Break. And we also talk about that match with PCO in the Wrestling with Ideas archives.
Yeah.
There you go. There's that transition. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to play our interviews. First one we're going to play is with Sheldon Jean. Of course, we mentioned earlier he wrestled, actually toured with Pro Wrestling Noah, and also wrestled for Impact Wrestling on their One Night Only pay-per-view. We had a great chat with him there, so stay tuned for that. And then after the break on that interview, we're gonna bring it to our interview with the outspoken MJF, Maxwell, Jacob Friedman. Definitely a character, to say the least.
To say the very least.
Says a lot. Disparages Canadians. Again, the views expressed by MJF do not necessarily represent the views of CKDJ, Wrestling with Ideas, myself, or Colin Scully.
None of the views expressed by MJF represent the views that I have.
Yeah, there you go.
None of them do. It's not that they necessarily don't. They don't.
Yeah, they don't. No, it's definitely an interview to take a listen to. Very entertaining character. Very confident character, as you'll hear in the interview. But with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're listening to Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music.
What's up? It's Sheldon Jean, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios for Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. In studio with me, it's been a while since we've had an in-studio interview. We have Sheldon Jean. He's wrestled for Pro Wrestling Noah. He was also appeared on Impact One Night Only. Sheldon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's raining, so I'm kind of down, and the traffic was big time, but I'm here now. I'm happy. It's cool. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad to have you up here in the studio.
Thank you.
So this is a question I usually ask everybody whenever they come onto the show. How did you first break in to the wrestling business to start things off?
How I first break in? I typed it in on Google. I typed in how to become a wrestler when I was about 18, 19. First year of college. I was out in Barrie, Ontario. I was just sitting in my basement, and I decided I wanted to do wrestling, and I looked it up. I think it said hit a gym and then start working independent promotions. And I didn't even know what the indies were. I was just a WWE fan, like most people were. And I typed it in, best wrestling schools in like the world, and Can-Am Wrestling School out in Windsor popped up. And I'm like, oh man, Windsor's in Ontario. I'm from Ottawa. Yeah. Easy bet. So I just went there and started from there.
Yeah. And so Can-Am, those don't know, Scott D'Amore running that school. How is Scott D'Amore like to work with, to train under, that sort of deal?
He's fun. He's tough love. He's intense. At the time, the head trainer was Tyson Dukes. Yep. So my first 5 months of training, Tyson Dukes trained me, and Tyson was always overseeing. Scott was always overseeing it. And then after Tyson stepped down, Scott took over for the next 2 years, and it was just up from there.
Yeah. What were some of the main things that he taught you in wrestling school?
Scott attacks the basics big time. A lot of psychology. Like you're not going to go to Scott's school and like learn a bunch of new fancy moves, but he'll teach you how to work a basic match as best as you possibly can. And now that I've been out there more so, I realize that that's what you really need. Mm-hmm. So
sorry, what year did you start going to Can-Am?
October 2014.
October 2014. So you've been wrestling for 4 years? Going, well, soon 4 years.
Almost 4 years, but I've been working matches for about just over a year now.
Right.
I trained for 2 years without a match.
Yeah. And so one of the things that's also unique about you as well, you've got it plastered all over you, the pro wrestling Noah.
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
man.
How did that whole ordeal come out, man?
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, good.
I think it was after the first C4 show. Someone tweeted at me, and it was a picture of me walking to the ring in my Noah jacket, and they're like, oh, Sheldon's doing what every rational person would do after a Noah tour and wear the gear everywhere. And that really popped me. That really made me laugh. So I literally just always have a piece of it everywhere because I have so many shirts and hoodies and jackets and whatnot. But the way it all came about was Scott, Impact and Noah have like a connection. Scott runs Impact. So they decided to hold a tryout, an Impact Noah tryout in Windsor, Ontario. So I was preparing for that tryout big time because I just wanted either an Impact spot or a Noah spot. And they came and the tryout happened and they picked people. I wasn't chosen, unfortunately. But then after the tryout, the president of Noah said he liked me still and he wanted me to come out there for 4 months. And then that's what I did.
So was it just a run in terms of a couple of matches, or did you also train there with Noah?
Oh, I toured and trained. I went there as like a young boy to do the young boy training. So all like, Jesus Christ.
Well, let's go into it then. The young boy training, what's that like as compared to the Can-Am Wrestling School?
It's two different worlds. Like it's not even, it's not to say Noah's training's harder. It's a completely different thing.
Right.
Like what we try to teach here is in like North America isn't the same thing they teach over there.
Yeah.
They're straight discipline. Did 500 squats every single day, 400 push-ups every single day, like 500 reps of core exercises every single day, 5-minute neck bridges every day, and it non-stop. And it adds on to you, man. Like after 4 days and you realize it's never going to stop, like you question yourself. At some point every day, I'd wonder about going home.
Yeah.
At some point. But then like you get halfway through and you're like, you know what? I'm going to make it. It's going to suck, but I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had to wrestle matches and tours. Like a lot of the other young boys didn't debut yet. So they just do the training.
Right.
But there'd be nights where I'm doing 500 squats and then wrestling like a 20-minute match.
Oh my God.
And it was it was hell on earth. But looking back at it, it was the best time of my life for sure.
So who runs the Noah Dojo then?
The way it works over there is the top young boy kind of oversees everything.
Okay.
But at some point every week, you're going to see somebody on the roster in there. Right. They'll teach the class. Like sometimes it'll be Marufuji, sometimes it'll be Shiozaki, Sagira, Ogawa. Ogawa works with the young boys a lot.
I see, yeah.
So
what's it like wrestling Ogawa?
It was fun. He's a funny guy. He's the guy in the locker room I probably talk to the most.
Yeah.
He has a lot of good. He's good at English. He speaks English really well.
Okay.
And we had a singles match, I believe. I tagged with him a couple times, but we had a singles match, I believe. And right before I went out the curtain, he looked at me. He's like, "If this match goes bad, it's your fault." And then my music just hit, and then I went out. But it went well. It was all good. But he's a fun guy.
Fun guy. And you also tag team with Cody Hall, right, during your Noah tour?
Yeah.
What's Cody like to work with?
He's good, man. He's a lot of fun. I've heard a lot of bad stuff about him. I heard a lot of bad stuff and rumors about him beforehand, but once I met him, he was good to me. Everything was good. He was fun to work with. We ran ideas back and forth all the time, and we trained together. And like we're still friends. I talked to him today. We touch base all the time. I think he just extended his contract, so good for him.
Oh, that's good for him. Yeah.
But yeah, we tagged a lot. I didn't see that coming, but we tagged a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And any you mentioned Ogawa before. Any other notable opponents as well you faced off in Noah that you kind of take away from and you're like, wow, I got to wrestle this guy?
Honestly, everybody, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's so good, but I literally worked everybody on the roster except for Marufuji. I only trained with Marufuji. I worked literally at each person on the roster. Yeah. Ishimori, Yohei, Hayata, Go Shiozaki, Keno, who had the title. I think he just dropped it, but Keno, Nakajima, Tamiya, all those guys are so good. I really learned there that styles make fights, and some people can have a heavyweight style, some people can have like a cruiserweight style, but everybody's good at what they do, you know?
Mm-hmm. And some people may also recognize you as well from your appearance on the Impact One Night Only deal. Did you know that was going to happen beforehand, or were they like, hey, by the way, Impact's working with us, and it's going to be a pay-per-view out of it?
I knew the event was happening. I didn't know I was going to be on it.
Okay.
And I knew it was going to happen from when I was in Japan. So I was really pushing for it while I was still in Japan, like over text or messages to Scott, like pushing for it. But then once I got back and I was in everybody's ear all the time, I eventually got on, and I really tried to take advantage of the opportunity. And I got a lot of good feedback on it, so I'm proud of my performance.
And are you going to do any more future Impact tapings as well, or was that just a sort of deal with partnership with Border City Wrestling?
Nothing's guaranteed, but I have, like, I guess, backstage privileges. So like June 1st and 2nd, they're shooting in Windsor, so I'm going to be there, and they're doing a One Night Only at Destiny, who kind of like teams up with Can-Am. So I'm going to be there on the 3rd as well. So I'm hoping to get on Impact in some sort of way within those 3 days. Yeah,
definitely. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, C4 wrestling, definitely a different atmosphere from everywhere else when you wrestle in front of them. Just kind of describe that for some of the people, just wrestling in front of C4 as compared to like a crowd in the Budokan, let's say.
Man, C4 really caught me off guard. Like, I'm from here, and I always knew of C4 when I went to go train, but I never saw a show.
Yeah.
So from the first show I went to go see, like, we did this whole call-out spot where, like, Michael Von Payton's in the ring, he calls me out, and then I go, and we have a match. But man, the place was nuts. Like, the place was crazy. And I had no clue that Ottawa was capable of like producing like wrestling fans like that. So I got back home after that night and I went to my brother. I'm like, you won't believe what just happened to me. I'm like, first I went to the event not thinking I was going to wrestle. Second, the crowd is nuts. Like the environment's so crazy and ratchet. Like I like it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, being a part of the crowd, not a wrestler, obviously. Don't have the physique for a wrestler, as you could obviously tell. But man, it is super rowdy in that C4 crowd. And you mentioned, you're feuding with MVP, Michael Von Payton, not to be confused with Montel Vontavious Porter. But MVP, interesting guy to work with, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun. I met him that day we first worked, and we kind of just clicked. And as far as storytelling goes, like I feel that whenever we're in the ring, we tell a pretty decent story together. And he's just a vet. Apparently, he's a vet of C4 wrestling and Ontario wrestling in general. There's a lot of respect for that guy. Yeah.
And how's the future looking like for Sheldon Jean? Obviously, now you've got the Pro Wrestling Noah gig by you. You got to be on an Impact pay-per-view, the One Night Only. Where's it looking like now for Sheldon Jean down the line?
I'm trying not to get greedy. I'm fortunate to have a lot of good opportunities really early in my career. So like obviously sometimes it's hard to not go backwards since like I hit such a high so quickly. So I'm just trying to be patient and just always be prepared for any opportunity that comes. So whatever's next, I'm okay with.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure you get this question asked a lot every time when a new wrestler kind of breaks in and they start to make a name. WWE NXT, any side of that in the future at all?
It's why I'm here. It's why I started doing this. And I believe that everybody at some point started or believed in themselves because they wanted to get to that point. So I won't lie about it. It's all I've ever wanted. And hopefully one day I can get to that point. But I want to get to the point when I'm ready and not just thrown in for under different circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll give you the chance now. Plug any sort of social media, any upcoming bookings where we can see Sheldon Jean.
You can see me at C4 Wrestling right here in Ottawa, Ontario. I do not know the name of the new venue, which is not good, but I'll figure it out before a match. You can find me on social media, Sheldon Jean on Twitter, Sheldon Jean on Instagram, and that's it.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for coming on, Sheldon.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you on, learn a little bit, especially on the Noah stuff as well. I'm sure you're very happy to have been a part of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, man, you see the jacket?
You got the jacket.
I wear it everywhere.
You have the jacket, but you also have the T-shirt underneath the jacket.
Am I wearing the T-shirt?
I think you are.
I am wearing the T-shirt. I didn't even know I'm wearing the T-shirt.
This is some great radio right here.
I didn't even know I was wearing the T-shirt.
Totally oblivious to it.
Okay. Am I wearing the hat? No. Okay.
No. It's a different hat. Right. It's a hat where if I say it, I would probably get sued.
Oh, right.
There you go. So, thanks for coming on again.
Thank you, man. A lot of fun.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have more here at Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9 Ottawa's New Music.
Hey, this is MJF, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas, unfortunately. Goodbye.
Because my name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you. and you know it.
I'm not a narcissist. It's only a little flame. I'm not an arsonist. It's only a little pill. I'm not a pharmacist. It's only a little love. I'm not a narcissist. I feel marvelous. I'm feeling better.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios for Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 1079, Ottawa's new music. I'm Zach McGibbon. On the line with me, he's been making his name on the independent scene, winning multiple titles, including being the current CZW heavyweight champion. He's also now a star on MLW's Fusion every Friday on beIN Sports USA. I have with me Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. MJF, how are you doing today?
Well, first of all, you're welcome. Normally, I try not to speak to Canadian people, but, I'm going to make this exception for you.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to help out MLW, putting the company on my back and all. So that's why I'm on your show today. Second of all, I'd like to make it short and sweet. Make sure that your questions you ask me are not really, really dumb. So let's get this thing started.
Okay, I'll try my best not to ask any stupid question. I'm doing my best here. But I do want to ask this question that we usually ask everybody that comes onto the show. How did you first break in to the wrestling business?
The way I broke into the wrestling business was very interesting. I had a Division I football scholarship at a college I cannot mention. And from there, I decided, you know what, this is a little too easy. I bounced. I went to Hicksville, New York, and I trained under Kurt Hawkins. And that's how I got my start in the wrestling industry.
Wow. So you mentioned that Division I thing. Why can't you mention the school of your Division I scholarship?
Unfortunately, there's a couple of legal issues there since I had left early and they had offered me a full ride. Not something I need to discuss right now, especially with a peon like you.
Okay.
So, like I said, let's not ask dumb questions and offend me.
Okay.
It's kind of not something you want to do with a man as powerful as me.
I'm sorry.
Try that again.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a journalist, trying to answer the right questions. How is Brian Myers to work with Kurt Hawkins like to train under? Sorry.
Well, Kurt Hawkins had trained me, and that's why I'm so damn good. Brian Myers, tremendous person, tremendous athlete. And, I got no complaints about Kurt Hawkins. He's a great wrestler. That's why I'm a great wrestler.
Mm. And you kind of disparage Canada a little bit right at the start. What is it about Canadians that you do not like?
Oh, man, you guys pronounce things real weird. You're also really, 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 for the most part, poor and ugly. And, that's really me putting it lightly.
Okay. Wow. That's blunt right there. Well, being in Canada, we're also known...
One thing they'll ever get from me is it's honesty.
That's
sorry
true.
to talk over you there. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. I'll do whatever I damn well please. What was the next question?
All right. I was just wondering, Canada is known for its harsh winters, and you're known for your scarves. Do you have any advice for us Canadians on some nice scarves that we can wear?
Oh, well, my first bit of advice would be to move to America. But, my second bit of advice would be, Burberry scarves. If you don't wear one scarf, Burberry's the standard bearer of excellence. There's no better scarf to wear than the Burberry.
There you go. So doing my research on you just before the show, you definitely display a sort of cockiness, I guess is the best way to put it.
Cockiness?
Well, yeah. I mean,
what is that supposed to mean?
Well, I mean, you're very. I guess I say the better word is confident. I guess I could say.
There we go, bud. There we go.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's me being a little bit too forceful, but you definitely display a ton of confidence, whether it be in your tweets, whether it be the AMA I read on your on the Reddit that you did, or the interviews that you do. Where does all this confidence come from?
Oh, man, confidence is key when it comes to this industry, but not only this industry in life. I'll tell you where it came from, my birth. See, when you're born better than everybody else, it just kind of oozes out of you. I knew at a young age that I was better than everybody else because I was stronger, faster, more intelligent, and I had more money. So, I was born with confidence. Unlike most people on this planet, I am not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to walk the walk, and you're damn sure I could talk the talk.
Well, I could definitely say, in full honesty, that your confidence is definitely translated into the ring. You've won multiple titles. Recently, you won the CZW World Championship. But it's interesting, considering I've seen your interviews, and you're very much against hardcore wrestling. So why would you want to compete for CZW?
Oh, I compete for CZW just to strictly prove a point. A place like CZW needs a man like me to carry the company. A man with class, a man with dignification, a man who is brave enough to go against the grain. See, I don't have to use weapons in order to get over. I don't have to use weapons in order to win championships. I don't have to use weapons in order for people to understand that I'm the best in the world. And that is why I'm in CZW. I'm in CZW to prove to every single fan out there that deathmatch wrestling is garbage, and the only real wrestling there is out there is the pure classification of professional wrestling.
All right. Well, what happens then if like a deathmatch wrestler comes in? Let's say Zandig comes in and challenges you for the title. Would you take him?
No, because I'm not an idiot. I'm not an imbecile. I'm not like a Joey Janela. I'm not like a Ricky Champage. I'm not like a Matt Tremont. I'm not going to stoop to that level. I'm a real professional wrestler. I don't have to wrestle guys like Danzig? Zandig? I don't even care. You know what I care about? I care about money, and I care about proving every single day that I'm better than you, and you know it.
Well, definitely there. In terms of MLW, how did that whole ordeal come about with you being a part of their television show Fusion?
Well, the answer is real simple. I'm the youngest and fastest rising star in professional wrestling today. When they needed a guy that they could make the face of their company, they only had one person to call, and that person was me. And, Court basically got in his hands and his knees, and he begged and he said, MJF, for the love of God, sign a contract here at MLW. And I said, Court, I'll think about it. And you know what? I'm signed on the dotted line. I'm here, and I'm ready to take this company to the next level.
So you're keeping your eyes then on Shane Strickland, seeing as he is the world champion?
Absolutely. Here's the thing, though. There's a lot of things coming up in MLW. There's talks about there being a middleweight championship. There's talks about there being a tag team championship. I'm not only keeping my eyes on Shane Strickland, I'm keeping my eyes on every single bit of gold, silver, nook and cranny title that I can hold in this company. I want to be the tag team champions, I want to be the middleweight champion, and I want to be the world champion. I want to unify every single belt because I want to make it very clear that this is my company and my company alone.
Well, there you go. Also, quickly, I want to touch upon, since we are from Ottawa, you got to wrestle for C4 Wrestling. I know it's a little bit out of your reach, seeing as you're not a big fan of Canada, but what was it like to work for C4 Wrestling?
The thing is, C4 management is great, but the fans over there are pretty disgusting. It seems like almost everybody in that crowd was their brothers, mothers, sisters, uncles, aunts. They're all related. It's disgusting. And to be frank, I think out of all people that were in that building, there might have been maybe 10 feet combined in every person's mouth.
Okay, well, I guess I want to delve deeper into this Canadian thing, seeing as I am Canadian. Like, what is the deal with Canada? Is it just like, is it something that's happened at a young age? Is it something down the line, just wrestling there? Just what is it about Canada?
No, it's just it's the way you guys say a game. It's your athletes. It's your culture. It's the fact that you think poutine is good.
Oh, it is good. What are you talking about?
And what did you just say to me?
I said poutine is really good. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Poutine's about as good as probably your obesity problem.
Oh, okay.
Look, I want to skip over this. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
All right.
Everybody knows the good old US of A is the place to be.
All right.
Next question.
All righty. Well, what's the future looking like for you and MLW? Obviously, you want to chase any titles, but you mentioned you're keeping all titles on in your eye. In terms of the tag title, though, aren't you afraid that maybe nobody really wants to partner with you, given that, you got this sort of, I guess you could say, confidence in quotations?
Who needs a partner? Who needs a partner when you're as good as me? So, I'm going to be the tag team champion.
All by yourself?
Dumb question. Yeah.
You're going to be the tag team champion all by yourself?
Yeah.
All righty.
Is that a problem?
No.
You think I can't do it?
No, I never said any of the sort. I'm sorry.
But that's what it feels like. It feels like you're insinuating that right now. And you know what I'd actually like? I'd like an apology out of you.
No.
That's what I would appreciate.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay?
How sorry? No. How sorry are you?
I'm super sorry. This is a Canadian sorry that's going on right now. It's the most sorry I could be.
Yeah, I don't want a Canadian sorry. Canadian sorries are half-assed. Give me an American sorry.
I'm sorry, the American way.
There we go.
All right. Okay. Where's it looking in the future, obviously, with MLW, but is there any other promotions you want to go, any different countries you want to wrestle?
I mean, I've worked for nearly every single top independent promotion there is to work for. The only promotion I haven't worked for in the States that is a top promotion is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. I definitely have my eyes set on there. As far as the UK goes, I've already worked for Progress. I'm about to go over there for a tour in May. I'm going to be working for companies like Target, IPW, PCW, and then some. So yeah, it's just really world domination at this point. And I go where I want to go. I go where the money's right.
Thank you so much, and I guess I wish you the best of luck in MLW, and I wish you luck and try to go after the tag team titles on your own.
Yeah, I don't need your luck, bud. My name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I'm better than you, and you know it. Goodbye.
All righty. Have a good night.
Hey everyone, this is CCO Karakolis, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas at TCO.
We're not the Mounties. We're handsome, we're brave, we're strong. We're not the Mounties, 'cause we enforce the law. You can try to run, but you can never hide. Unlike the Mounties, we always get our man. We're not the Mounties. We're handsome.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios for Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. I'm the man they call Gibby, Zach McGibbon. Alongside me, the music man, Colin Scully. Oh boy, that interview with MJF. He definitely a character.
What's he hating on Putin so much for?
I know.
Really?
Putin's great.
Well, the one
And
thing,
just the hatred for Canadians in general.
yeah, the one. I guess we can get this out of the way now. The one thing that makes Putin actually Putin is cheese curds versus just grated cheese.
There you go.
You have to have cheese curds on Putin.
Yes,
otherwise,
you can't do the grated cheese. You can't. You have to do the cheese curds.
Yeah.
That's how you roll.
Well, that's how they do it in Quebec, and that's where.
That's the true way to do it.
Yeah.
There you go. The true North way to do it.
Strong and free.
Strong and free. There you go. Of course, you can check out MJF. He's also on Twitter at @_MJF. Also like him on Facebook if you want to. Also, thanks again to MLW for organizing that interview with him. When we were doing the interview, the reason why it was short was because he was actually in the middle of his promos and stuff for MLW TV.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so they organized it right in the middle of that. So it's a little shorter because of that, but I think the quality came through on the interview.
Sure.
So let's get to your questions. So we got questions from Jonathan Skuse this week. If you have questions for the show, send it to us at either @RozGibby or you constantly go through gimmick changes.
I think I'm going with this one for a while. You can send them to me at CD _ the music man.
Okay, so we are sticking with that.
We are sticking with that for now.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, so let me just scroll on down to the first question. Again, if you want to send in those questions either to myself or to Colin, or you can email them to us, wrestlingwithideasradio@gmail.com. You can also send it to us on Instagram at wrestlingwithideasradio, or send a message to us on Facebook, Wrestling with Ideas. Lots of ways you could send in questions, so don't be afraid. Colin does not bite, I can assure you that. So let's get into the questions here. So after the first joke question about me being in Saudi Arabia, because I'm not Hornswoggle. So let's go with, he's actually got some interesting questions. So let's start with this question here. @RozGibby, with the possibility of some negativity towards Hulk Hogan, what do you think the response would be if WWE brought back Mr. America to SmackDown Live? #Wrestling with Ideas. I love it. Let's do it, brother. Brother. He actually sent me a message.
It would be a good counter to the moments of bliss.
He actually sent me a message, and he said he does not believe we never got the full results of the lie detector test.
We didn't.
So I mean, that's a suitable replacement right there. Find Mr. America and let's bring him back, brother.
Let's do it.
Brother.
Might as well.
There you go. And the second question he sent in, @RozGibby, do you think the WWE should have a jobber's wing in the WWE Hall of Fame? And who would your first 3 inductees be? His would be Al Snow, Special Delivery Jones, and Brooklyn Brawler.
That's an interesting... That's an interesting 3 guys.
You don't know Special Delivery Jones though, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay, he was a wrestler in the mid '80s. He was definitely the epitome of a jobber.
Okay, in terms of my 3, I mean, me knowing what jobbers are, having started watching WWE circa 2011-ish, I would say. I'd say the top 3 jobbers I'd have would be 3MB era. 3MB?
3MB. We'll count that as an entire inductee because WWE has done that. So
okay. 3MB. Bo Dallas.
Okay.
When he was first a thing.
Okay.
And then...
So you're just sticking with it circa 2011?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, like, I can't really think of anything before then.
I mean, to me, Heath Slater is awesome. I love Heath Slater.
Yeah. But, I mean, the same case could be made for Brooklyn Brawler.
Right.
So.
I mean, for me, you still haven't... Are those your picks?
I guess.
Okay, there you go. So 2/3 of the answer there.
Yeah.
Well, but there you go. Well, I mean, you got 3 in the 3MB, so I guess that kind of counts. You kind of gave one extra.
Yeah.
So for me, my 3 jobbers, Iron Mike Sharp is the epitome of a great jobber. Barry Horowitz, also another great jobber. And I liked his gimmick as well.
Yeah.
And another great jobber. That's a good question. I've always had it up in the air on whether it be Brooklyn Brawler. I was going to say Doink the Clown, but he actually had a nice little run to start off with, and it just went. In terms of other jobbers, try to go back to the Job Squad. I mean, Al Snow kind of comes up there in terms of jobbers. You what James Ellsworth can go up there in terms of being a good jobber.
Yeah,
because he made a character for himself, and now he's becoming the intergender champion across the independent scene.
Yeah,
so that could be something there.
Yeah,
I could see James Ellsworth. So yeah, Iron Mike Sharp, Barry Horowitz, and let's go with James Ellsworth.
Yeah,
I like James Ellsworth just to keep it recent, you know. So with that, hey, that's all the questions here for Wrestling with Ideas.
Yeah.
So thanks again for coming on, Colin. And you were telling me we initially hyped you up as like a bi-weekly host, but all of a sudden your work has just decided to schedule you off on the days that we record. So now you're coming back again next week.
Yeah, coming back again until they tell me I'm not. So
there you go. Just keep on trucking. The streak is on. You've got a Goldberg streak rolling right now. You're going to be at 3-0 next week.
Yeah,
this is going to be something.
It's exciting for sure.
This is something to behold right now.
Yeah.
So keep on tuning in every Thursday on CKDJ 107.9 FM, Ottawa's new music. Of course, that's when we play this show, Wrestling with Ideas. You can listen back into older episodes of the show through our archives, wrestlingwithideas.podbean.com. You can listen to past interviews with the likes of Jake the Snake Roberts, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Rick Steiner, Nick Aldis, the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, JTG, Teddy Long. You could listen back to the interviews we just did right now if you wanted to, with Sheldon Jean and MJF. So a lot of great interviews in there. And we're going to continue on trucking. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at RozGibby or at CD_the Music Man.
Yeah.
Also, you can follow us at Wrestling W Ideas, where you can keep updated with all the show postings that go up there. That's a great little Twitter feed there. It automatically tweets out something whenever something from Wrestling with Ideas updates. So follow that one if you want to be the first person to listen to the show. You want to be one of the first to get it. That's the way to do it. Also, like us on Facebook. Our Facebook likes have really been growing recently.
Ever since that Facebook live stream of the 100th episode, I think.
Yeah, it was throughout the week. I mean, we're currently at 445 likes. And when we did the episode 100 live stream, we were at 430 likes. Yeah. And by the end of the week after the live stream, we were at 420. We almost reached the entirety of our views from our likes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
We were 10 short from our likes. So really appreciate the support. A lot of people are really enjoying the show. And we're continuing on. Going to try and continue to get some more interviews. A lot of people seem to really like the independent wrestling guys. So we're going to definitely bring up a couple more independent wrestlers onto the show.
For sure.
Love to do that. I'll also get to know the guys a little bit more as I start to also kind of meld my way into the independent scene as well. Also, too, follow us on Instagram at Wrestling with Ideas Radio. Post updates there as well. You can also send in your questions again or any other inquiries. Send us an email. we'd love to talk to you. WrestlingWithIdeasRadio@gmail.com. That's where you can do that sort of stuff. And one last thing I also want to plug, I did a wrestling podcast with you.
So I've got, I had uploaded, I think it was just, it's a month ago tomorrow that I released the first episode of the Parts Unknown WrestleCast. But that was so far, up until earlier today, that was the first episode and the only episode.
Right.
I released a revamped edition of the Parts Unknown WrestleCast, and I'm going to be doing it releasing it every Wednesday.
There you go.
So yeah, this week I talked to Gibby. We talked a little bit more in depth about the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yep.
We talked a little bit more about some of the NJPW stuff that's coming up. Some of it already happened.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about just some general questions about the business and that. The one thing I will promise is that the revamped edition of the Parts Unknown WrestleCast will be better than the WWE's attempt at revamping ECW.
There you go. That's a good goal to set.
Yeah.
That's a good goal to set. So had a ton of fun there, had a great discussion. I believe that's already on, isn't it?
It's I uploaded it just as I was waiting to start recording this.
Well, there you go. So that's what's going down. So the first episode of the Parts Unknown WrestleCast already up on there as well, so you can listen to that as well. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Keep on tuning in every Thursday, 6 p.m. Wrestling with Ideas. Until then, guys, have a good one.